Hello, welcome to the Daily News Ukraine channel. Today is January 15th and our daily review of news about Ukraine. Bogdan Kikabidze, a famous film actor, pop singer, screenwriter, film director, songwriter and member of the Georgian parliament, has died aged 84 in Georgia. That's according to the Georgian TV channel Tavari, Ukrinform reports. Kikabidze was a great friend of Ukraine who strongly condemned the war unleashed by Russia against Ukraine. In August 2022, he transferred the funds received from his concert in Batumi to help the 26th Artillery Brigade named after Corporal General Roman Dashkevich of the Ukrainian Ground Forces. Former Lithuania President Dalia Grybauskaite has said she thinks that the incompetence of NATO countries was one of the reasons that led to Russia's full-scale war against Ukraine. That's according to the LRT news outlet, Ukrinform reports. We cannot stand aside and allow such a brutal state to trample, destroy and kill our neighbors. To a large extent, we are all to blame for the fact that this is happening now, and that we, the NATO countries, are helping so slowly and so insufficiently in the struggle for freedom and life in Ukraine, Grybauskaite said in the Lithuanian parliament. The news outlet also recalls that Grybauskaite has repeatedly criticized the West for its too slow reaction to Russian aggression against Ukraine. The death toll in Russia's missile strike on an apartment block in Dnipro has risen to 23. That's according to the Dnipro City Council, Ukrinform reports. According to the State Emergency Service, as of 1300 hours, 23 people, including a child, are known to have been killed. 72 people, including 13 children, have been injured, the Post said. As many as 39 people, including 6 children, were rescued. 43 people are listed as missing. On January 14, a Russian missile hit a 9-story residential building in Dnipro, destroying 2 sections from the 9th to 2nd floor. Some 72 apartments were destroyed and more than 230 were damaged. 2 men have been killed in a mine explosion in the Kherson region. Yaroslav Yanushevich, the head of the Kherson Regional Military Administration, said this in a post on Telegram, Ukrinform reports. Near Velika Oleksandrivka, people hit a mine left by the Russian occupiers, the Post read. It added that 2 men, aged 53 and 35, were checking their fields when they hit an enemy mine. The men died of their injuries at the scene. Since the beginning of the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine, bomb disposal experts have neutralized more than 313,000 explosive items. By extending the upper age of routine military conscription in Russia from 27 to 30 already this spring, the Kremlin is trying to hide the ongoing mobilization for the war in Ukraine in order to avoid growing discontent among the population. The UK Ministry of Defence said this in its latest intelligence update published on Twitter, Ukrinform reports. According to the update, on January 12, Andrei Kartapolov, the head of the Russian State Duma Defense Committee, suggested Russia would extend the upper age of routine military conscription from 27 to 30 in time for the spring 2023 draft. Kartapolov said the move would be intended to enable the previously announced 30% increase in the size of Russia's forces. Last year, Russian President Putin said he supported such a move, and Russian officials are likely sounding out public reactions. There is a realistic possibility that Russian leaders hope a change of age criteria for routine conscription could bolster personnel available to fight in Ukraine while appear less alarming to the population than announcing another round of the unpopular partial mobilization process, the ministry said. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has called Russia's missile attacks on residential buildings in Dnipro despicable and abhorrent and said that Canada strongly condemns them and will continue to provide Ukraine with support to defend itself against Russian aggression. Trudeau said this on Twitter, Ukrinform reports. Russia's attacks on residential buildings in Dnipro, Ukraine are despicable, abhorrent, and completely unacceptable. Canada condemns this violence unequivocally. We stand with the people of Ukraine, and will continue to make sure they have the support they need, Trudeau wrote. On January 14, an enemy missile hit a 9-story residential building in Dnipro, destroying 2 sections from the 9th to 2nd floor. Some 72 apartments were destroyed and more than 230 were damaged. At least 21 people, including a child, were killed and 73 others, including 14 children, were injured in the attack. 38 people were rescued, including 6 children. A 3-day mourning for the victims was declared in Dnipro. Ukrainian Marines destroyed 4 Russian UAVs and killed 28 invaders on Saturday, January 14. That's according to the Ukrainian Navy, Ukrinform reports. Yesterday, on January 14, Marines destroyed 4 UAVs and 28 invaders. Artillery units and units of the Ukrainian Navy's Naval Infantry Corps Command inflicted fire damage on the invaders, the report reads. The Navy added that the elimination of 2 Russian soldiers had already been confirmed. The final losses of the enemy are being specified. The Defense Forces of Ukraine killed another 630 Russian soldiers in the last day. Since the beginning of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Russia has already lost about 115,290 military personnel. Russian troops shelled a residential area in Kherson on Sunday, January 15, wounding 2 civilians. Yaroslav Yanushevich, the head of the Kherson Regional Military Administration, said this in a post on the Telegram messaging app, Ukrinform reports. The Russian occupiers have just launched another strike on a residential area in Kherson. According to initial information, 2 people were wounded, he said. According to Yanushevich, rescue services are working at the scene. Read also, 26 killed, 81 injured in Russian attacks on Ukraine over past day. Together with Deputy Chairperson of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine Alina Kondratiuk, Speaker of the Saeima of the Republic of Latvia Edvards Smiltens visited the Chernihiv region's deoccupied settlements. In particular, the parties came to such settlements as Kikabidze, Ivanivka, and Yehidny, and Ukrinform correspondent reports. They had to stay in a bomb shelter during the air raid alert, and also examined a basement in Yehidny, where Russians used to keep local residents during occupation. The delegation could see the civilian houses destroyed, where renovation works had already started. According to Smiltens, providing assistance to the Chernihiv region is a separate item in the new coalition agreement signed in the Parliament of Latvia. On behalf of the Parliament of Ukraine and the Ukrainian people, Kondratiuk thanked Smiltens for Latvia's comprehensive aid. Kondratiuk also expressed hope for further cooperation between the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine and the Saeima of the Republic of Latvia in 2 areas. Firstly, the establishment of a special international tribunal to punish all those responsible for Russia's crime of aggression, political and military leadership, government officials, members of parliament, everyone. Secondly, the implementation of legal mechanisms that should be applied to seize the frozen Russian assets and use them to pay compensation for the damage caused to Ukraine. The confiscated Russian funds must reach each Ukrainian, each family that had been affected by Russian aggression and terrorist attacks, Kondratiuk stressed. She mentioned that Estonia had already launched this process, and the Ukrainian side believes Latvia will also join these efforts. On January 14, 2023, a total of 26 civilians were killed and 81 injured in Russian attacks on the territory of Ukraine. The relevant statement was made by Deputy Head of the Office of the President of Ukraine Kyrylo Tymoshenko on Telegram, and Ukrinform correspondent reports. According to the data from regional military administrations, 21 civilians were killed and 74 injured in the Dnipropetrovsk region, 5 killed and 4 injured in the Donetsk region, 1 injured in the Sumy region, 2 injured in the Kherson region. A reminder that, on January 14, 2023, Russian troops launched 3 airstrikes and 57 missile strikes. The enemy also opened fire with multiple launch rocket systems 69 times, namely on civil infrastructure. Today we were talking about those news. Georgian singer Kikabidze dies aged 84. Incompetence of NATO countries was a reason for war in Ukraine. Grybauskaite. Death toll in Russian missile strike on Dnipro grows to 23. 2 men killed in mine explosion in Kherson region. By raising conscription age, Kremlin seeks to hide mobilization. UK intelligence. Trudeau calls Russian strike on Dnipro a despicable attack, assures Ukraine of support. Ukrainian Marines destroy 4 enemy drones, kill 28 invaders in past day. Russians shell Kherson, 2 civilians wounded. Latvia's Saeima speaker visits deoccupied settlements in Chernihiv region. 26 killed, 81 injured in Russian attacks on Ukraine over past day.